Over the years, if there's one breaking path breaking data, which in a sense has changed the way how Indian banking or financial system is moving, is CIBIL data. And just for the viewers, CIBIL data is nothing else, but it's a real data which CIBIL provides to individual borrowers as well as companies in terms of their credit history. So the better the CIBIL score, the better your credit history is. If you're taking a home loan, a car loan, if you don't pay on time, if you are defaulting on your credit cycle, especially credit card, where the weightage is very high, the CIBIL score tends to take a hit. So CIBIL is also a lead indicator, or CIBIL score is also a lead indicator of the health of the economy. And today we would be taking that conversation forward with Mr. Bhavesh Jain, Managing Director and CEO of CIBIL. And while we know as individual borrowers the importance of CIBIL, that's the first thing which they just put in some numbers on their laptop, and then they say, okay, your CIBIL score is good, loan given. It's as simple as that. But your data, according to GM Financial, the CIBIL score for MSME is also looking encouraging. Now, if I look at the economy, SME and MSME are not doing very well. That's the pain point. Every time the finance minister comes on TV, she says, yeah, we're trying to fix the SME sector and MSME sector. But the CIBIL data is telling me a different story. Why is that?
Good morning and thanks for having me on the show, Nikunj. The MSME credit growth has been going through a good momentum for last few years. In fact, when you look at the last financial year, we have seen a 13% year-on-year growth. One. Second is in terms of, it's been a secular growth that the manufacturing sector, the trading organizations, as well as the services company, all are seeking credit. It's diversified. Third is that the credit institutions are encouraging the new to credit borrowers to come on board. And what we see is a healthy 47% of the new originations been new to credit MSME borrowers. And fourth and the most important aspect is that the delinquencies for MSME credit market has actually improved significantly. As we talk, the serious delinquency for MSME is 1.8%, which is at 5-year low. So all these parameters are quite encouraging, which says the credit quality and the portfolio of MSMEs have improved significantly in last 5 years. New to credit MSME borrowers are encouraged by the ecosystem. Third is that it's not just manufacturing but trading as well as professional services company also getting access to credit. So these are very encouraging data points to look at on MSMEs.
So why is there this notion, now that you're backing with data, I'm using the word notion, that the middle layer of the economy is not doing well. Post-COVID, it's a K-shaped economy, which in a sense is evident now, and credit is not flowing to the MSME segment. Credit is struggling when it comes to SME segment. Your data is telling us a different story. Your data is saying that they are in fit and everything is great.
So let me put things in perspective. Today, the large part of the credit institutions have moved towards underwriting in an objective way and at the same time risk-based pricing. So at the time of acquisition or portfolio management, banks look at the CIBIL score for MSME, which you mentioned and you referred, which is the commercial rank, CIBIL commercial rank as we call it, and that helps lenders to objectively underwrite and onboard the borrower. One. Second is when you look at it, when they are doing this objective underwriting, they are creating other levers to create awareness within the ecosystem. So the MSME borrower is thoroughly aware that I need to maintain a good credit history and a repayment track. So when they maintain this repayment track and good credit history, they continue to get access to credit from the formal credit ecosystem. Now with this enhanced awareness, the borrower also knows that if I have a good credit history, I'll get the lowest rate of interest in the country. Now it's helping both the lenders as well as the MSME borrowers in the country. And hence when you look at the delinquencies, it's at 5-year low. And within that, if I have to say that the 50 lakh to 50 crore aggregate credit exposure segment is performing the best. Now to your point saying that credit is flowing to the MSME sector. The credits demand is sustained over the last few quarters also. The delinquency is all-time low. The diversification is happening. At the same time, the ticket size of 50 lakh to 50 crore delinquencies is the best performing in terms of it's on the lower side.
Okay, and Bhavesh, also help us understand with the recent RBI cut that we've seen, the front loading that they have done. Do you expect this fall in interest rates to encourage more new to credit borrowers to come into the market right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because when we compare the MSME vis-a-vis retail, MSME new to credit has been a very consistent flow into the ecosystem. In the recent time, almost 47% of the new originations happen to the new to credit MSME borrowers. With the rate cuts, we expect that more new to credit borrowers would be excited to come into the formal sector, which will help them to reduce their cost of capital as well as deploy that money back into their production or their business expansion.
All right, but along with that, what we have seen is that there was a time where RBI was taking strict actions in order to control the credit in terms of specifically the MFI segment. Now that you're talking that the delinquencies are improving, the MSME segment is doing well, do you believe that there still remains any challenge or any pocket where RBI really needs to take care of?
So when we look at the data, the MSME delinquency is at 5-year low. When we look at retail, at an aggregate level, the delinquencies have also reduced significantly. In fact, personal loan delinquency is stable. The other secured retail delinquencies have reduced. So retail and MSME form the two biggest credit space in the ecosystem where the delinquencies have actually reduced. So it's a very healthy and encouraging sign. And with the rate cuts, borrowers would be motivated to come to the formal credit ecosystem. And when you look at the overall credit market in India, retail, MSME and corporates, these three are forming the biggest credit market in the country. And especially the retail and MSME, the portfolio qualities have actually improved in recent times. So it's encouraging signs going forward.
Okay, one important lead indicator is the credit card data. That's data last 2 months has been decent, but before that it was a problem, both in terms of delinquencies and also in terms of new credit card addition. So I won't get into new credit card addition, that's the bank's foray. But CIBIL has mastered the art of really mapping the credit card score. How is India doing on credit card score according to CIBIL?
So credit card, there's a huge opportunity to increase the penetration. But the consumer today has choice to opt in for a credit card or a personal loan or go into the UPI payment form. So consumer today has multiple choices rightfully. The consumer can decide whether do I need to just need credit for a month or two and use credit card versus say a 12-month or a 24-month and can I avail a personal loan at a slightly different rate of interest. With these choices, what we have seen is that the credit card delinquencies in the entire retail pack is been a little bit of an outlier, where credit card delinquencies have inched up slightly and the credit card originations have gone down. Because of this denominator effect, the delinquencies have been impacted slightly and the delinquencies have gone up by 30 basis points. But when we look at the overall retail credit book, the delinquencies have come down. And credit card exposure as the total retail book is relatively still smaller in India as compared to other nations in the developed nations which we see.
Okay, so if one looks at the categories, and these are like, I always say CIBIL data is more like a canary in a coal mine, right? A canary in a coal mine tells you which way, when the danger levels are moving high. MSME, SME, MFI, retail, corporate. All your data points are indicating that right now there is momentum in the economy and NPAs are unlikely to come up. That's what the data is indicating.
So NPAs have actually reduced.
Yeah, they're unlikely to come up. I'm saying that there is no problem. The reason I'm asking this question is why? Because GDP has slowed down. We are not growing at 8%. We are growing at sub 7%. So if 1% is taken out from GDP, we are talking at $4 trillion, 1% going. That's a very large base effect. Despite that, there are no delinquency in credit and credit growth is strong. I mean, that's the sum and summary of our interaction today.
Yes, and at the same time, I would say with the rate cuts, there will be motivation for the new to credit borrowers to come into the credit fold. And we have seen is that lenders are encouraging, especially on the MSME side, new to credit borrowers to come onto the fold. So we see going forward, the portfolio qualities as now holding, new to credit borrowers being excited to come on board, and lenders encouraging them, and at the same time the awareness of the borrowers both on retail and MSME side has gone up significantly, that if I maintain a good credit history and a repayment track, I would get the best financial terms and conditions in the country.
CIBIL started when there was no AI. Their word AI did not exist technically. You may have used it, but now it's a mainstay. What has changed for CIBIL in terms of data mining? What is the new process or new data which you are tracking which would tell us something new about economy or something new about lenders or borrowers?
So right now what we are working with credit institution is the frequency of data submission, which has moved from monthly to fortnightly. That every fortnight credit institutions submit data to the credit bureaus, and we see a stage in future where it would move to weekly, probably even daily, which helps the credit institutions to know about the credit obligations of the borrower on the shortest possible time. Same time, it helps the borrower to ensure that if the borrower has made a payment, it's reflected in the credit report at the shortest possible time. So it becomes a win-win. So our focus area is to work with credit institutions on the freshness of the data.
You know, all four of us have at some point in time taken a loan, and we will continue to take loan, and I think all four of us have a credit card. So how does the CIBIL score work? Let's say if the score is 100, what is a good credit card? What is a good CIBIL score, and what can one do to improve the credit score? And what is a bad credit score? How does it work? Can you break it for our viewers and for me and for Snehi and for Srishti?
Is that 750 mark still the benchmark of a good credit score?
So CIBIL score ranges from 300 to 900. To maintain a good CIBIL score, the most important aspect is to pay on a regular basis. Take credit within your means.
Can you achieve 1200? The highest?
The range is 300 to 900.
900. Can you achieve 900?
I'm sure there will be some borrowers who would have a score of 900. But at the same time, the parameters to look at is credit repayment history, credit behavior, everything to do with in terms of when you take a loan or you take a credit card, are you paying on timely basis or not? That's the biggest parameter. And most important way to look at is that pay your credit card bills on time and pay your EMIs on time and borrow within your means and continuously monitor your credit report and score, because if you continue to monitor it, you will continue to pay on time and you will continue to maintain a good credit score and a good CIBIL score. And if you have a good CIBIL score, you will get the best financial terms and conditions in the country.
But credit card has a high weightage in the CIBIL score for an individual, right?
So the highest weightage would be on repayment history.
Okay.
So you pay irrespective of credit card, personal loan, home loan. The most important parameter is that the repayment behavior and the credit performance.
Well, you live and learn. It's, it keeps on popping up. Check your CIBIL score for free. Karna chahiye kya wo?
Yeah. Should one really check the CIBIL score? Because I believe that there was one catch that one shouldn't check it.
Yeah,
because every time you do that,
it comes low. Is that true?
Is that true?
So it's important to monitor your CIBIL report and CIBIL score. You can come on CIBIL.com, take one free annual credit report, but your credit score is your right. You can come and check it. When you check your own CIBIL report and CIBIL score on CIBIL.com, on your own, it does not impact your CIBIL score.
No, but there are a lot of websites which say get your CIBIL score checked and tracked for free. And there are no free lunches. So why would a fintech, or why would a website which is which is even giving services of tracking stock, they would offer to check your CIBIL score free?
So they would.
Then became consumer-centric chat, but I think it's important.
So they would encourage their consumers a platform to engage and educate them. As I said, the moment you engage and educate a consumer, they are well aware about maintaining a good credit history and a repayment behavior.
So good behavior, good hygiene, pay your credit card, don't default on your loan, spend after you earn, very simple, and then you don't need to check your CIBIL score because you know it will always be good. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for joining us. Let's take a break. Before that, I think the PMI data which came out and the